How to make a budget the best for you. To create a budget, follow 4 steps. Identify your income, define your expenses, deduct expenses from income, and finally, track and adjust. That's it? Well, that is the essence of 2 weeks of effort in web research. Besides, this is the budget method I use and have been refining for months. So let's start with the gist of this video. A successful budget is one you stick to and that helps you reach your goals. So, here you will find 3 requirements to create your best budget and the composition of the 4 steps previously described. About the requirements, we have 1. Know your why, 2. Use the least time, and 3. Adapt to your preferences. Let's start with the requirements. Let's start with the first, know your why. That is the most important step. Writing your why you want to budget will remind you your goals, because a budget is not supposed to be painful, it's a tool to reach your financial goals. Objectives are diverse, like getting the most of their money, finding money to pay bills, becoming debt free, or making a down payment to buy a house or a car. If you don't know where your money goes, even paying bills can be stressful due to the fear of not knowing if you have enough money to pay them. Approximately 64% of Americans report feeling stressed about money. That, according to the American Psychological Association's 2020 Stress in America survey. To avoid such stress, you can create a budget. It shows what you are doing with your money. Then you can stretch your income as far as it can go with frequent budgeting. The second requirement is use the least time needed. An effective budget involves discipline, planning, and prioritization. After knowing your why, the discipline needed can be easier achieved when making a budget is as automated as possible. You can retrieve your bank account statements or even link your bank accounts to a budgeting app. That enables automatic transaction identification. Then the budget can take as little as 10 minutes or less, and the less time it needs, the faster you will go without interfering with other of your activities. The third one is adapt the budget to your preferences. Budgeting is not one size fits all. Let's first of all pick the preferred tool. You can choose the one you are already using or that you like. Let's think about spreadsheets, maybe Excel, Google Sheets, LibreOffice, OpenOffice, a budget app, a web version, paper version, whatever you prefer. Say a second point. Do you prefer cash or and visual tangible budgets? If that is the case, you might prefer using envelopes. Each envelope is an expense category. If you spend all your planned category, all of an envelope, you must take from another envelope, another category. Keep an eye on this as it can become labor intensive. And third, is your income irregular? Monthly income can vary to reasons like having a commission-based income or varying hours worked in an hourly paid revenue. Aim to cover your mandatory expenses in a given month with your lowest monthly income in the last 3 months. If that is not possible, use the average of the last 3 months and save as much as possible for next month. Consider saving and earning more to avoid running out of money. After these requirements, we can see the steps to create a budget. Let's consider number 1. Identify your income. Have your last month bank account statements. The money transferred to your account should be after tax income. Any money you receive is income. It includes bank transfers, cash payments, cash gifts, everything. If your income is not always the same amount, consider the lowest of the last 3 months as explained in requirement number 3. Adapt the budget to your preferences. Once you know your income number, let's define your expenses. In this second step, zero-based budgets is one of the tools used by enterprises that can also be used by individuals. As Deloitte states in its 2020 Global Cost Survey, a zero-based budget doesn't mean you will have a zero on your bank account. It means that every cent has a category assigned. Hence, you budget all of your money. For spending lovers, you could include a guilt-free expendable money in a dedicated category. So, name your expenses categories. One common method is the 50-20-30 rule. It states that you should budget your income in three expenses categories: 50% for needs, including what you can't live without, like food, shelter, utilities, and transport. This food category does not include eating out in restaurants. You can reduce food expenses with a meal plan to define what you need, a grocery list to avoid impulsive buying, cash for groceries, like that you see the spending being done, discount grocery stores like Aldi or Lidl, generic products bought instead of more expensive branded ones, and coupons. It helps only if you were going to buy the product anyway. So that was the first category, 50% for needs. The second category is 20% for savings and debt payment. And the third category is 30% for wants. If wants are missing, you will experience a minor inconvenience. Wants are things you desire but can't live without them. For example, subscriptions to TV cable, magazines, gym memberships, phone, and internet, unless you use them for work. Include in this percentage a generic category for an expense you might forgot you could have. So there you have it, three categories: 50% for needs, 20% for savings and debt repayment, and 30% for wants. To adapt that method and know your real percentages, you need to look back and forward. Looking back and identifying previous expenses. Your last month's bank statements were already taken in step number one. Identify your income. Those will be vital to identify what you spent on. Second, looking forward and detecting planned expenses. Common planned expenses are vacations, children's education expenses, and anniversary gifts. Consider expenses for the current year only. For instance, if you plan to spend $1,000 for Christmas and you start budgeting in June, then put aside 170 each month. Include a cushion of around $100 to $200 on first month budget. Keep it in your bank account and not expect to spend it. You can access, of course, a budget template that I will put in the video notes for easy access. Avoid using too many categories. Too granular categories means much more effort, and you want to avoid making budgeting so complex you end up not having the time to do it. Now the step number 3. Deduct expenses from income. After subtracting your expenses from your income, do you have a positive or a negative number? If you have a positive result, it lets you assign more money to reach your goals. Please consider what you defined in requirement number 1, know your why, and prioritize savings over debt payment category. In this way, you will have every cent allocated to a purpose and reaching a zero-based budget. First, ensure you covered the following objectives. Then you can continue to put more money towards other objectives. First, start an emergency fund. Save until reaching $1,000 or one-fourth of your monthly expenses. This will keep you covered in case of emergency without jeopardizing your budget. Once built, it will convert what could have been a financial crisis into an inconvenience because you can't use your emergency fund. Once spent, rebuild it and have it always available. 2. Pay toxic debt first. If you have debt, start paying as much as you can of those debts with the highest interests, like credit cards and personal loans. 3. Be charitable. You can experience the joy of helping others through your preferred charitable organization. 4. Build an emergency fund. Once you reach goals 1 and 2 previously described, you can keep saving in the future monthly budgets until you reach 3 to 6 of your monthly expenses. Once you reach that point, you can safely continue with the next one build. The next one is assigned to your long-term goals. Make your dreams real. You could pay all your debts like mortgage, saving for a big vacation, being financially free, or whatever you want. That is in the best case where you have a positive result. What happens if you have a negative result? It means if your expenses are higher than your income. Then you need to save and make extra money. You can consider Things like reducing your expenses, like avoiding eating out in restaurants, selling objects you do not use frequently or even at all, taking a side gig, a part-time job, or another income-generating activity. Based on the urgency, you can decide for an hourly payment. It means an hourly paying job that will give you immediate rewards, or it can be even an online job as a freelancer, consultant, or any other variant. The important is to make the result positive as quick as possible. 4. Find ignored cash and change, and also verify whether tax deductions are available to you. And finally, the fourth one is track and adjust. Every month, check your budget to ensure you track it. This shows your spending patterns and lets you verify you are allocating your resources to reach your goals. You had already chosen your preferred tool in requirement number 3. Adapt the budget to your preferences. So you can set weekly or monthly reminders to review your budget in the same tool if it allows it, like a budgeting app, or on your frequently used agenda, be it your phone, computer, or paper-based. The weekly or monthly reviews are ideal to check and ensure that you are on track to reach your goals. They are also useful to include in the budget the unexpected events that happened. It could be a job loss, an accident, or any other reason that forced you to spend. In those cases, your emergency fund should help. If the fund did not cover them, that is the moment to adjust your budget. Every month, you check in step number 3, deduct expenses from income, whether your result is positive. If you spent your emergency fund, start building it again. It will keep you covered for unexpected events. Remember, in creating a budget, you are in control in your money and not the other way around. So, to summarize, the best budget requires you to 1. Know your why. 2. Use the least time needed. And 3. Adapt the budget to your preferences. And these steps are identify your income, 1. 2. Define your expenses. 3. Deduct expenses from income. And 4. Track and adjust. So you can take after this video a look at any other of our videos. I hope you enjoy this and have a nice day.